Easy Troop, in today's video I want to show you 5 different transition tricks you can use in your music. And in most cases they're going to be completely just using the built-in tools in your DAW, whatever it is. Apart from the last one, that's a sneaky tool that's been around for years but no one seems to talk about it, but I hear it in music all the time. Transition 1. Let's start simple. Hi-hats and crash cymbals. Yep, they are easy ear candy and transition makers. And you have thousands of them to hand whatever major DAW it is you use. So what do? Well, it's easy. We reverse them and layer them. You can get away here with some dodgy timing as well because the reverse cymbals have a brilliant natural curve. Look at an example. Alright, let's have a listen to a very simple reverse cymbal transition in effect as we just move from one part of the song to another here. And there it was, super simple, right? So it's actually just these two sounds here, boom and boom. So we've just got a really quick and effective one. That's it. It's just that little flick to the ear to let us know what's going on. We're just using it at that key moment as we change the feel of the track. So we use the start section here, we've got this little bit here. So the drums filter in and maybe we could use some of that crash energy. So what we'll do, we'll just make blank channels here and we'll copy this crash down here. We'll use the same one, it doesn't necessarily matter. And it's quite a long crash sound, so let's just loop over it. It's all of this. So it's still going sort of right around here, we can still hear it, so let's just trim it down to about there, put a little fade on it. And what we're going to do in Logic, I can very simply go over to the inspector. If I tap I, get this little guy over here, I can hit reverse and it will reverse that sound for me. And what I'm going to have is have it drop right there on the start of bar 33. That's just going to help us sweep in with that little drum filter and everything into that moment just there. We'll just zoom right in and land it right on point and it's going to land back in with the same crash. So let's just have a listen. Does that work for us? Does that give us a bit of a build up and transitional moment? And it does, it works nicely. Now, what I like to do is then use a shorter sound just to ramp it up a little bit quicker. And what we can do here is just grab something as simple as a hi-hat. So if I bring up the browser here, we'll go into the sample archive and let's just literally go hat and we'll just find something somewhat appropriate. That's kind of cool. That could give us a nice little transitional sound. So it's already starting to build up here and we're going to use this much shorter sound just to accelerate that ramp and feel. One of the first things I want to do is spin it back round. So we're going to put reverse back on and it's going to be loud. So I'm going to turn the gain of it down as well. I'm going to knock this back about 9 decibel, I think. And we'll just give it a little fade in. We can see it's a much shorter sound right off the bat. Let's see if that helps us out. And that works quite nicely right there. Transition 2. This technique is a classic of the classics, and it's married till death do them part with the reverse cymbal transition. It is the white noise suite. Alright, so like I said, the white noise goes really well with the cymbals. Let's just have a quick look at the key things to do. I'm going to do it in 2 different ways. I'm going to show you what you can do with a white noise sample and building one out. I'm going to grab Alchemy, literally grab any synth that makes white noise, turn off the saw, turn on white noise to use the filter in here. I'm not going to use this one, I'm going to use the global. That's turned on. And there's 3 things that I want to automate: the cutoff, the resonance, and the drive. In this case, I'm going to do it over those sort of 8 bars. So at the minute it's going to sound like this. Mess. What we want to do is then be able to automate. The way I like to do it is just to take this off of read, put it on latch, open up Alchemy, and I'll just tweak all 3 parameters while latch is on, and as you can see they now all latch down there, which gives me a little bit of read data, which I can now put it back on read and I can draw in what I'm after. Now our main one's going to be the filter cutoff. If we just put a point in here and we can have it sort of at 90, because we've got the low end already cut away, it will be silent, and then we can just ramp it up gradually from there and curve it up quite quickly towards the end. And that will give us this. Alright, so we're almost there already, right? The reason I like to put resonance on is I like to do like a little resonance bump like that. So it kind of goes up as it's ramping up and then back off. That gives you this effect. You've heard that a million times, right? And then the drive can just give us a little push at the end here, and that gives us this effect. So to lessen the snap of it just ending like this, for example, you can also just pop a little bit of reverb on, tiny bit of delay. I can do it straight in Alchemy in this case, but you might need to put it to a bus or add an effect on. So I can just go effect, switch on, reverb, acoustic reverb, and mix somewhere around 20% just to soften it off. Right, the other way you can do it is to have a white noise sample and use like an EQ or a filter and apply it that way. Yeah, we've got a chunk of white noise, and what we could do, we could literally just pop an EQ on it, low pass filter on, and very simply just create an automation with that. So starting off really low and bringing it up higher, maybe just put a curve in, turn the one we just made off. That will give us something like this. I'd recommend softening it up with some reverb. You can also combine everything together, and we've built quite the transitional riser sound. And that is the white noise sweep. So yeah, now we have two transition methods in the bag, and these two work really well together, especially if we play a little game with the listener, which is you right now. Let me show you what I mean. Bonus technique. Here's a little way that you can apply what we just learned to a slightly different type of transition and play a little trick on your listener. As in, we're going to build up, but we finish a little bit too early and leave a pause and a gap. Here's an example in my track, Trouble in the Hood. So we got that anticipation, that build up, and then kind of anticlimax, and then we got to build up again. So we can do a build up with a misleading drop using those cymbals and the noise sweep to quickly jump between the two. Before we go on to transition number 3, I just need to let you know that today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. They are my music distributor, and if you want to release all of your music onto those major and many of the smaller streaming platforms at a price an independent artist can easily afford, check the description below this video for a discount on your first year with DistroKid today. Transition 3 is the pitched riser or the downer. And the concept is quite simple. We can take a note or even a chord or a sound that's going to occur in the track and modify the pitch over time. This is huge in all main room EDM sounds, dubstep, D&B, big room, etc. Let's pop this out. We've got this kick build up. We can have a little fun with that using a pitcher plugin. And what we want is a pitch shifter. We want to set mix to 100% and then semitones as 0 for now. And what we're going to do is rise it up from here over these bars, just over those 4 bars, right? So let's automate the semitones rising up, and we're going to rise it up by 1 octave. 4, and we're getting faster and faster, as you can see. And that gives us a really cool transition build, right? Right, so that's one way we can do a riser. The other thing we can do is pitch up a sound or a tone. we're just going to put a single note in. This track is in D, so a D will probably do. And what I would suggest we do is take it quite low. C2 is probably going to do here. What we want to do is automate the pitching of it.
Bring it back, back. You can bring it back tonight. Bring it back.
Yeah, like we can hear right there.
Bring it back tonight. Bring it back, back. You can bring it back tonight. Bring it back, back. You can bring it back tonight. Bring it back, back. You can bring it back tonight. Bring it back, back. You can bring it back tonight. Bring it back, back. You can bring it back tonight.
Let's look at transition number 4. So for this one, we're going to go back to the taking a sound and reversing it techers. So for this, we're going to use a vocal sound. Now it works really well if you intend transitioning into that same vocal, but it equally works well if you're transitioning into an instrumental section, because the human ear and the thing between it likes to pick up on voices and vocal sounds. So they make great transitional parts that the ear will latch onto. In this track here, which is 100% still a work in progress, we've done two little things here. So it sounds like this, and I've used it as the transition for the start of the song.
My head's in the cloud, cloud, cloud.
I'm just setting that tonality of the vocal coming in. The two parts we've made, the first one sounds like so. And it's quickly faded away. It's made by reversing the vocal, saturating it in reverb and delay, and then bouncing out to audio. And then we've got a little quicker version which just does this. Yeah, so just a huh with the reverse vocal. And then the two together just give us that little build up into the track as it starts. If you listen to my track Feeling Heavy, I use that throughout the entire track to tie all the sections together. Transition 5. The wind down, the tape stop, the vinyl stop, whatever you want to call it, it's got a bunch of names. Essentially, this is a quick, effective, but also super easy to execute transition into your track. Now it's quick, it's abrupt, but it gets the point across and does the transition pretty well. Check it out. So that was it right there. Really quick and easy transition. Now to do it in Logic, outrageously simple. I can literally take any piece of audio, get the inspector up and change my fade out to something called slowdown. If you're not using Logic, there might be a way to do it in your DAW. Like there are plugins that will let you do it though. So if I was to just take, say, this loop just here. So this little guy here has got literally a built-in slowdown, and you can set the length on it and then just automate the slowdown. If we set it to be really, really quick, like I have mine, you can get that same effect. Super useful way to do it. And you can add this one to your music production bag of tricks. Bonus round. I promised you a tool that I hear all the time that hardly ever gets talked about, probably just because it's old, like me. It's called the Riser, and it's a one-stop shop synth for transition making sounds. Here I've used the Riser 3 different times. It's such a ninja little tool. So we open it up on here. In here is made a perfectly timed riser to this 16-bar section, which goes like this.
Bring it.
Alright, and it's got another one juxtaposed with it, which sounds like this. And they just hype up, and it's all done in the synth. Like so. instant. It's just really, really easy for that kind of thing. And the thing I like about it is depending on the note you choose, so depending on the octave, it syncs to different things. It just makes it super easy to use. So you can see here I've used the same 2 sounds as before, but over 8 bars this time, so it instantly rescales them. Alright, and I've used it in the track as well as a background riser. So that's just a really, really easy to use, affordable, old tool that no one seems to talk about. Now we've learned a lot in this and we looked at reverse vocal effects, but we can go so much deeper with those and have them really affect and change the whole feeling of your track. Watch this video next to learn how to do that, and I will look forward to seeing you in that one. Take care.